honestly.
She comes out to
Because
my
you don't
office the
want-
other day, well, I got an email from her,
Yeah.
That's the question mark, is that I got it.
cause I
Hey,
emailed
we
Megan
went back to
McGowan.
cardiac rehab.
For mobile home
Yeah,
parks.
and Mary
And I don't
emailed
know
me
what this
back, and I thought,
When does it start?
We went back a week ago.
Anyway.
Facebook stalked her.
Oh, that's what
Sure enough, back to North Platte.
At the hospital.
The hospital. How come?
Well,
Because I can't walk.
that's fine.
yeah, I know,
Yeah,
and have for a long time.
I have to make an appointment.
yeah, she said that she saw you, and I said, oh, I've known David for probably about 20 years, I suppose.
You had to do that when COVID was.
She'll have,
See,
she'll
I
do
was
well
out
with
there,
that.
Yeah, I was excited.
In a single ownership
good
to be a
guess.
single
Yeah.
ownership LLC.
Yeah, I asked Brandon about it,
but
and
big
Brandon
X-rays
said, well, I'll
Yeah.
go put in a good
I
word.
don't know that you want
And
more.
he said he went over there, and Megan's like, no, we're already settled on it. Like, that's where we're gonna go with. And Brandon's like, okay, that'd be good. Like, well, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah.
Next door neighbor is Dwight, and he's had, he said, I don't know how many shots, had
Yeah.
both hips operated on.
Todd, if you were looking for something juicy for the meeting tonight, doesn't look like it's, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, that's pitch when you can't walk very good.
Yeah, well,
Talk about hurting, oh my
yep,
God.
I know. I know.
I took one phone call on it, so.
They'll wait till, you know.
That's a good question.
And say,
What do you
why didn't
mean?
Tell us you did.
Yeah,
Just about ready.
we've only been talking about it for
Ever?
5 or 6 months now.
Well, you certainly previewed it 2 or 3 months ago.
Well, and, I mean, you did a nice article on it on Sunday, so it's,
Then maybe everybody understands.
could be. Guess we're gonna find out in the next month or
You
two.
will.
One thing.
That clock isn't right.
No, that clock is not right.
But this one is,
Meeting of the North Platte Planning Commission for March will come to order. Roll call, Judy.
Davies, Winder,
Here.
Fudge,
here,
Bain, Weber,
Here,
McGann,
Here.
Jett,
Here?
Forbes,
Here.
and Worrell.
Here.
Okay, a quorum is present.
Thank you. Current copy of the Open Meetings Act of Nebraska is posted at the back of the council chambers. Second item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of our special meeting held March 8, and you should have a copy of that.
I would move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Winder moved, Jett seconded to approve the minutes of March 8th. Any discussion? Roll call vote. No, not roll call vote, sorry.
hard habit to break.
And the minutes are approved. Item 3 is public hearing on AM 22-003 to discuss and consider action on an amendment to the City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156, zoning sections 156.001 through 156.145 relating to residential zoning regulations, sections 156.290 through 156.310 relating to supplemental zoning regulations, and sections 156.370 through 156.375 relating to non-conforming uses and structures, and amendments to the City of North Platte official zoning map. Judy.
Okay, you should have all received a copy of the review comments and then the proposed ordinance that shows the strike-throughs and underlines. Of course, the strike-throughs would be what we would be proposing to remove from the regulations. The underlines would be what we would be proposing to add to the regulations. A city council work session was held last month, and as a result, it was suggested that the maximum allowed townhome development in an R1 be changed from 3 to 4, and the maximum allowed townhome development in an R2 be changed from 5 to 6. That change was made in the attached document. And then a proposed zoning map is also attached. I do have one that we can pull up on the screen if necessary. And again, this is just for the residential zoning districts, regulations for non-conforming uses, recreational vehicle parks, accessory dwelling units. I don't really have a lot more to say with that, since we have looked at this for several months in a row. If you have any thoughts, anything that you think needs to be changed, we can do that still, so.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and so if there's anyone who wishes to speak to the issue, I would ask them to come to the podium and identify yourselves, give us your address so that we can have it for the record. And it is a public hearing. Do we want anyone of the city to come up first?
Not unless you have
Not unless we have
questions.
questions, okay. Seeing none, do you have any questions for any of the city officials?
First, I would move to strike or close the public hearing.
That would be good, would it not? We need a second.
Second.
Fudge moved, Weber seconded to close the public hearing. Any discussion? We need a clicker vote. And the public hearing is closed. Okay, questions within us, or if we have someone we would like to ask to come up?
Dave,
Yes.
the only phone call I took on this whole thing was, and I just, for the record, the difference between a mobile home, a modular home, and a manufactured home from you.
And would you tell us who you are and
Sure, I'm Dave Hahn, building official for City of North Platte.
thank you.
To answer your question, if you go back to our documents, a mobile home, I would tell you would lead back to a single wide. By definition is wider than 8 feet and I believe longer than 40. Now you get back into manufactured or modular, they are basically essentially the same thing. As far as zoning goes, there's a provision in the zoning that would allow a manufactured or a modular set in any residential zoning district, which I believe is still there. It had to meet some certain requirements, 900 square feet, pitched roof, non-reflective siding, and you all know what I'm talking about. And as long as it was set on a permanent foundation like a regular house, we permitted those like a house. We've done that my whole career here. So really the difference in the two terminologies doesn't go back to that. It goes back to whether they leave the frame in them or not. And the frame has to stay if it's required for support under one term and not the other.
And so the questions that I got specifically related to, would I be allowed under the new zoning regulations to take a modular home and put it in an R3 district? And my response was, I believe that's accurate. And I just wanted to check my response.
Yes, you can do that today, and I believe the way we looked at all the changes, it would still be that way.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I just wanted to ask the question that I was asked to make sure that I wasn't speaking in crazy talk.
No, I think you're spot on.
Okay,
Does
thank
it-
you.
Does anyone else have a question for Dave?
I mean, it's this non-conforming, it's this non-conforming structure piece, you know, I mean, lots of mobile homes that sit on lots around town. But looking at this, I mean, I just feel like you guys have really worked to, you know, make it possible for people who aren't non-conforming to still make it work moving forward. But, you know, anything new that's put up, I mean, they need to be in a mobile home park, this sort of thing. Like, I guess I'm kind of sitting here like, what's my pitch on like why this improves my community as well? Like, yes, we're gonna have non-conforming, but moving forward, the vision of North Platte, having like these lots, you know, cleaned up and things like that, from your standpoint of what you're doing, why is this a good
Are you talking
thing?
about like the single wide mobile homes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we've got several of those out there on residential lots. And under non-conforming, the original pitch, Judy, correct me if I'm wrong, was to, you know, if somebody said, hey, I've got one and I want to put a newer one in or a different one in, our original idea was to take those in front of city council. We had a suggestion that said, maybe we can soften that a little bit, because I don't know if they saw we'll have 15 of those every city council meeting
Right.
or what have you. So the piece that I just talked about where you could take a manufactured home and put it on any lot as long as it was on a foundation and we permitted them like homes, we kind of took part of that and said, as long as it's a single wide with a pitched roof, non-reflective siding, we would allow that. And that seemed to be fairly popular. What that did for us, right now in our mobile home standard, the HUD, we don't put a date on it has to be newer than or anything like that. But it has to be HUD approved, which tells me it's 76 or newer, okay?
Okay.
And so now, moving forward with the pitched roof and the non-reflective siding and the nicer looking ones that you see, that's probably in the 80s, mid-80s version. So we didn't really allude to any date. We just alluded to that style, which upgraded us a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, so that's really how we tried to handle that.
Yeah, and that's what you can see, the very last page is what you're talking about. And it has basically two different ways that they can extend that non-conforming use. And the one way is to still go in front of council if they needed to. But if they could meet the requirements in that last paragraph that, like Dave was talking, the roof pitch, the exterior material, wheels, axles, all that removed and that sort of thing, then yes, they would be allowed to take out the older one and put in a newer one without having to go to city council or get any type of approval other than from the building official.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I probably misunderstood some of that. So if they're replacing, okay,
still
so
could put
if they're
another one on
grandfathered in, then they can, and they then have a mobile home that they want to replace, they can bring a new mobile home in as long as it meets these HUD standards and that being this pitch roof and the
Right.
siding elements.
Do they have
Okay.
to put it on a foundation?
No.
Okay.
New single-wide mobile homes by the HUD standard does have a foundation, but it's not like a house. I mean, they do some drilled piers so the thing doesn't settle and they poly underneath the thing and make sure that it doesn't become the drain. The ground's higher underneath, but that's HUD standards and that's required federally. So we check those and sign that paperwork. So the brand new ones, that does apply, but these it wouldn't. Unless it's brand new.
That said, we wouldn't allow that to happen in an R1, an R2, or R3 unless they were already grandfathered in, correct?
There would have to be an existing mobile home, single-wide mobile home on the lot. So after you make the change, did we rezone that R3? I mean, is that what you're looking at? Those R4 areas would become R3.
Yes.
So to answer your question, it is gonna happen in R3, but right now, the way everything's set up, that would be in an R4 zone. And we're talking about the single lots, not the mobile home parks.
Right, but I guess what I'm getting at is if somebody wanted to put a single wide on a single family lot in an R3 that didn't already have one on there, they would not be
They would
permitted.
not be able to do
Okay,
it, correct.
that's what I was trying to get at.
Correct,
All right.
yes, you're correct.
And this, okay, and the thought, I guess I'm just like, okay, and this street's revamped because, like, I mean, I like, why, I know, then we're moving then everybody into the mobile home parks, right?
Well, we're not
Otherwise-
moving them.
Well, not moving them, that would be at state, don't print that, yeah. that'd be good. North Platte, everyone's being moved in mobile home park, right, okay, but,
Yeah, the target is to allow mobile homes in mobile home parks
Right.
only. Now, will we see that in our lifetime? More than likely, probably not.
right. Okay, okay. Okay. Do I move on to another item? Should probably start talking.
Dave?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to point out, in the mobile home park.
Be a
Ow,
fine.
someone's. In the mobile home park definition, I don't know what page that's on. Is that their page
Yeah, I
number?
should have numbered them. It would've been a-
Well, I guess it's all alphabetical. So it says the mobile home park shall mean a parcel of land under single ownership that has been planned and improved for the placement of manufactured or mobile housing. And then flipping, I'm kind of pointing out that single ownership piece. Then under the recreational vehicle park, the RV park, we don't say anything about if there needs to be a single owner for that particular park. So anyway, I didn't know if we need to clarify or have that to be consistent so that we're either saying single ownership or in both, or if we just want to leave it more vague.
Did you all follow what she's talking about? Okay. The reason for the single ownership of a mobile home park is you don't want some people owning, 4 lots and then somebody else owning 4 lots and somebody else owning 4 lots and calling it a mobile home park. We want the mobile home park owned by a person or an entity, one single ownership. The RV park probably should be the same way. Now, why it was left out is probably because if this is 40-some pages long. But I don't know how else you would own an RV park if it wasn't single ownership. But then Emily pointed out,
Yeah, I just have been doing a little research on mobile home parks, and they were saying that these are actually being bought up quite a bit around the country right now. They're pretty popular, but sometimes that means, I guess, people get priced out of being able to have a place in the mobile home park because their, rent can be raised and they're stuck with a mobile home that's in this park, and they're kind of at the mercy of this owner. So one of the workarounds was if the mobile home group could actually purchase the park and do what's called a co-op, and that way then each mobile home owner has a stake in what's going on and can help with the decision-making process, and then they also are setting their rents kind of according to paying off, whatever loan they needed to run that co-op. So that's kind of where I got to thinking, and noticing, like, we do specifically say single ownership in the mobile home park, and I don't know. Now, it's my understanding that, it's kind of state law, I think, on some of these. I don't know if that's a right of first refusal. Like, some states apparently have it set up so if someone comes to buy the mobile home park, then those owners can have a right of first refusal and decide if they want to meet that amount, or whatever. But I don't know where Nebraska falls in that. I have not researched all of that. So that was just, again, one of those things I guess we're throwing out.
yeah, and I wouldn't know that answer. That would be something I would want to speak with our attorney about to see if that was legal or what you want to do. Do you want to keep it as single ownership? Do you want to allow multiple ownership? Like a co-op type thing, if,
Well, even a co-op would
state
have to
allows
set
it.
up an entity.
Right.
Well, I was gonna say an
you could still-
entity when we sell a property, I mean, it's just one owner.
Right.
Because you're just putting down the LLC or whatever, and then you've got a signer and people under the signer. So it
Right.
would be a single entity.
So it could still
Great,
work
yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause I sold a mobile home park over on 12th Street last year, and it was a single entity, but it was a group of guys.
Sure.
They came together to form an LLC and they bought
They
the
already
thing.
had an
Right.
LLC,
Right.
but
Yeah.
So do you want me to change the recreational vehicle park to be the same type?
I don't know why, how else would you be able to do that?
Right.
So I guess I would, I agree with you, Emily, that, so recreational vehicle park shall mean a tract of land under single ownership upon which 2 or more recreational vehicles. Does that make sense?
yeah, I would agree.
Judy, could I ask a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Woods, do you have a question?
I do have a question, I'm sorry. Excuse me,
Would you
I
like to come
apologize.
up here,
Oh,
please?
okay, yeah.
Name and address, please.
That's the way here, so. I get informal. Mark Woods, 902 North Emery. Would there be a size restriction? I mean, a size on the RV park, just like the mobile home park. Is the mobile home park 4 acres? Is that what?
Yes, I think
Yeah,
we had
okay.
changed that. Currently, in our current regulations, it's 8 acres, and I think we did change that down to 4 acres.
Yeah, you talked about that earlier.
RV park.
I just thought that would be rather large RV park. Might,
I was thinking
Wanna
we
go with
had a
this.
size restriction or a size.
Doesn't indicate one. Of course, it doesn't indicate
But we
one.
don't do maximum, we didn't do maximum, we did minimum in the mobile home.
Where would that be listed? Because I don't see it under mobile home, under the definition.
It's under the actual mobile home park regulations.
Got it.
Special design criteria for mobile home parks, where it talks about the lot area not being any less than 4.
And so is there a standard for RV parks?
Special design criteria for RV parks. I have spacing, but I don't have a minimum.
Two or more recreational vehicles are located. I don't see a size anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, mobile home park, 4 acres, lot areas, 4 acres. Mobile home park,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you don't
mobile.
have nothing.
Nope, it doesn't look like we put a minimum lot size for a recreational motor vehicle.
Should it have? And if you did, how big would that be? Because like, I'm thinking of, I mean, the one out on Halligan, I think is fairly large. Then you've got some other ones out on Rodeo Road that are fairly small.
And I would say the one that's on Halligan Drive, by Cody,
The Holiday
that one's probably not very big at all.
out by Cody.
By Cody
Cody
Go-Karts.
Oh, I think that's bigger
It's
than
actually
that.
pretty
Is
big.
it pretty
big.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
runs,
When you get into it, it's pretty,
It goes
Spread
back
out.
quite a ways.
Yeah,
it's
it's deep.
bigger than you think it is.
It doesn't look like much from the front, but there's quite a
Yeah,
few spots.
it's
in there.
deep.
The only thing we have in size is 2 or more recreational
Mm-hmm.
vehicle sites are located.
So how much acreage would you need for 2 vehicles? For 2 RVs? Small RVs?
Not even a quarter, would
Yeah,
you?
10,000 square feet, 8,000 square feet, a regular city lot.
But your RV, you have spacing. 10 feet from side to side, 6 feet from rear to rear, minimum of 5 feet between the RVs and patios. I'm thinking you're gonna want at least a couple acres. If you can get some screening, you're gonna want some screening because that's what the regulations require.
Okay, and the benefit of the minimum size is going to be,
It's gonna be an actual RV park where they have restroom facilities, laundry facilities, that sort of thing. That would be kind of what I would think about when you're doing an RV park, because if it's just 2 RVs, then they have no access to amenities of any kind.
right. Then you could just pop them up on every corner.
Acre is 43,000 square feet.
Okay.
An RV park.
43,560.
I had to get a fountain calculator out here to know that. So what would our smallest RV park out on Rodeo Road existing?
At least an acre,
yeah.
yeah. How big was the East 12th one you sold, Nelson?
What?
That was a mobile home park.
Oh.
That was a mobile home
That's
park.
right.
Yeah,
Is an acre reasonable
I think so for
trying to think. It's the one
RV
out
for an
park,
RV park?
Yeah.
as far as a minimum.
By the time you put a restroom facility in it and allow spacing,
Well, think of the lots out on Sierra and Sunset, or Sierra and Coyote, all those lots out there are an acre.
Oh, yeah, they're all acre lots.
They're right at an acre,
Uh-huh.
so it's pretty good size.
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't wanna go much smaller or any smaller than that, would you?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think you would,
So is it,
if it's an actual RV park.
Right.
so should, put in something in there that basically says shall be no less than 1 acre in size.
How big the RV park?
There you go, Angie. Angie's got this.
Ha.
Maybe.
Are we going to need both of those things if we decide? Are we going to need both of those items?
In the motion, yeah, probably.
I had a question about the residential use table. It looked like this. On the first page, at the bottom of the page, single family, attached dwelling, maximum of 3 units in a townhome in an R1. I thought that would, city council, would that be 4?
4, yes,
So that should be changed.
yes,
And the same way below that, in R2, that should be 6.
yes. I
And,
changed it in the regulation and I forgot about the table. So,
okay,
yes.
and then how about, we would no longer have the R3?
Now, the R3 is existing, because everything's gonna be R3, we no longer have the R4.
Okay, so that needs to be changed, no, that needs to be changed to 6 also. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
The RV park, is it Vic Sunset on Rodeo Road is 2.31 acres,
Yep.
On Sunset and Rodeo.
or the Sunset RV park. or
Oh,
whatever it's
oh,
called,
I
Rodeo.
gotcha. Oh,
Out
on
there
Rodeo.
Rodeo Road, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I was thinking the one out by Garden Glove that we sold was it was between 2 and 3 acres.
And what's the one by the go-karts?
Holiday Park.
Holiday
Yep,
Park.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Would be-
I think that one's fairly substantial. Oop, right there.
Angie's looking that up. Are there any other
So when we-
questions or concerns or comments?
So when we get to this, you almost need to do the motion, the 2 changes, and then do we just basically say the tables need to conform with the regulation?
Can we do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was on the first page that
Yeah.
they were changed.
Angie's mathing.
That's in 3 pieces out there.
Oh.
2, so you got, I gotta get the calculator.
They're probably owned by 2 different people.
Don't say that, don't say that.
See? It's like 13.55.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It is larger.
Yeah, they've got a big one.
Big old
Because
thing.
it goes back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Big one.
center is 9.3 acres, and then the one, he's got the piece off to the side that's 4.25, so that's what we show, it's like 13 acres on that one.
Wow.
It doesn't look that big when you,
No.
No, not from driving by, but
yeah. That's
Nope.
what- That's what we have, whether it's accurate, I'm gonna say it's pretty accurate, but that's what our website shows.
Nah, you've been wrong
Without a-
before.
we have, you know, yeah,
I won't go there.
you won't go there.
Neither will I, Jeff.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions?
Okay,
All right.
So the townhome development and, R2, like, changed to 5 to 6, that mean, is that like side by side by side?
Yes.
5 all in one building? And then you
Well-
could do,
They share the same wall,
okay,
basically.
okay.
You'll see.
So you could have multiple in,
It's
you know,
possible.
a grouping of 5, another building of 5 or
Yeah.
6.
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
No.
Do you have what?
Do we have any of those now?
Townhouses? Yes.
Was that many?
Maybe 3.
Wow.
We got 3, I know.
I know
There's
three.
a 6 by over here. I mean, not far from here. There's 6, one structure that has
Oh, no.
6
One
apartments
unit.
all the way
I
through
guess that's true.
on 2nd or 3rd Street, not far from here.
There's some rentals.
We do have a few. The thing is, the reason we changed it to read the way that it does now is they don't have to come in for conditional uses or go to Board of Adjustment. This just makes it easier so they can actually just build those. So we do have some and we have allowed them in the past, but they just have to jump through a lot of hoops to do it. This makes it just by right.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple, yep.
Good.
All right. I'm just checking.
I know, I think
I don't want you
I've,
going home
I
and
think I've
thinking,
exhausted
"I
my
should've
questions,
asked
okay?
that."
Sorry to be the question.
No, that's good, that's good. We need to be clear on what we're doing. If there are no further comments or questions, I would entertain a motion and be sure to include the items we talked about.
You got that?
I have them marked. So I move to approve file number AM 22-003, adopting amendments to the North Platte, to the City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156 zoning, Sections 156.001 through 156.145, relating to residential zoning regulations, Sections 156.290 through 156.310, relating to supplemental zoning regulations, Sections 156.370 through 156.375 relating to non-conforming uses and structures, and amendments to the North Platte, City of North Platte official zoning map with the following corrections. 1, that the tables inside the document, or inside the regulations reflect maximum allowable townhome developments in each district. 2, that the definition of recreational vehicle park include under single ownership between the word land and upon. And 3, that special designating design criteria for recreational vehicle parks include a size limit of no less than 1 acre. Did I catch it all?
Did you mean mobile home parks, single owner, or is that clear? That was clear.
That was already clear.
Okay.
We're just changing recreation.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Fudge moved, Whirl seconded with the proposed motion for the adoption of the ordinances. Is there any discussion? Clicker vote. Okay, the motion carries. Thank you, and Judy, thank you for all your work
Yes.
on this
Yes,
over the
yes.
past
Yes.
several months. The research and finding out what, I mean, it was hard enough just to read through it all, let alone
Yeah.
having all the research done for us. That very, very, very much appreciated. So,
No problem.
want you to know that. And I think everyone else on the commission would agree.
That'll work.
40 years ago, 45 years ago, when I was financing mobile homes, it was a lot easier.
Well, I'm glad it was easier. That's good, Don. Okay. All right. Agenda item number 4 is old business. The conference, the workshop, is that old business? That's old business, right?
Yep.
The NPZA virtual conference that you all attended, I'm sure. Any comments?
So the virtual workshop will actually be up on their website, Nebraska Planning and Zoning's website, as recorded. So at some point, I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll have that up there. I'll let you guys all know when it is up there, because some of those things were very interesting. The accessory dwelling unit workshop was really interesting. And then I sat through, and I think Marilyn sat through the legislative update, which is things that are coming down from the state. Some of them were pretty interesting. So.
They were not interesting,
That's
they
some
were
laughs.
scary. Very scary. Okay, so if you get a chance, listen in on that one or watch it, because some things that the legislature is looking at are scary, in my opinion.
I would agree.
Any other comments?
No, I'll let you know when they get up on the website, and if you have a chance, take a look at them.
It was interesting to me also how some of the cities follow up on their conditional use permits. Yeah, I thought that was interesting also, so not so scary, just interesting.
That
All
is
right.
something we should probably get a little better at. Yeah.
Yeah, well, even, we don't know, unless we watch the city council meetings or read their minutes online, we don't know what they did with the conditional use permits that we've recommended that they approve or not approve, because we don't have any final vote, so they decide, and so what happened? So if we don't figure out, well, that wasn't wise because of whatever reason, or that was really wise, stick to our guns, then we don't make the same mistake over and over again, and it doesn't, you know.
We should start sending our chair to the meetings.
We should send our vice chair to that would train him well. Is there any other old business? New business? Item number 5? New business? None? We are adjourned. You're only a little bit late.
Oh, I'm fine. It's really not late. I did find interesting when I was reading this the other day, because we just listed a bed and breakfast Southtown, so I was going
Oh,
over the
yeah.
bed and breakfast
They
rules
had
in
an
here.
estate sale Saturday.
Yes, they did.
They
Did you go?
did?
I was there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Say what?
I know Arlene.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you probably did. They were
We
Catholic.
need to do that, because I go back to that for information that,
Our archive,
yes.
conditional use permit, you'll see.
Pulled over to a Titan, did you, David?